It's also haunted as well. Hello and welcome back to my channel. And you join me on a sunny morning in Ipswich. And in this video I'm going to take a walk up towards Christchurch Park and discover the location of the Martyrs Memorial. And on a beautiful sunny day like today, I can think of nothing better than taking a walk through the town of Ipswich, and we'll see what else we can discover on the way. Just on my right hand side are some almshouses. Now these were built from the will of a man called Henry Tooley, and he was a local merchant and ship owner. And they're quite fine indeed. They were built around 1550. And I've just put my a quick look inside Tooley's court. It's rather impressive inside as well. Probably not supposed to go in there. I think it's a residential care home. But what a great place to reside. Beautiful surroundings in there. But just across the road is a blue plaque. I do like blue plaques. And this one's to Thomas Gainsborough. He's the famous painter. He actually lived in a house next door between 1752 and 1759. Number 34 Foundation Street. His building where he lived has long since been knocked down, and the building, the actual site, had been built on. I do like his work. Very famous painter. And I came across his, or two of his houses in Sudbury the other week. When I was walking around the town, following the Talbot Trail. So, nice little connection there with Ipswich. But what I've come to see is the remains of Blackfriars Friary. It's just on the right-hand side up here. All that remains is just a few ruins. The priory was founded in 1273 during the reign of Henry III and dissolved in 1538 by Henry VIII in his act called the Dissolution of the Monasteries. Appropriated all the funds from the monasteries to help fund his war with France. But there's not too much left of the old priory here. The nave has been nicely marked out, and what does exist, or perhaps what might have existed, has now been built on by the flats opposite. Well, all around, you get quite a good picture of how sandwiched these ruins are by looking at an aerial photograph. But there's still quite a bit here to see. Just walk into the nave a little bit here. They've left the columns marked out and the exterior wall on two sides. But it's given ruins, I think that's quite a bit here, given the age of the building and the history of Ipswich that's surrounded it. But just on the left, to go through here, this is where the tower would have been. I'm standing in the base of the tower. That's where this would have been. There would have been probably a Sanctus bell, which had been rung in the mornings for services and prayers. And up at the end here is the chapter house. This is where all the secular and non-secular business of the priory would have taken place. The friars would have sat around the edge, around the side, and discussed the business of the friary. Came across an interesting chapter house in Thetford last year. There's quite a nice ruin there of the old priory in Thetford, and also at Bristol Cathedral. They got a fantastic old preserved chapter house as part of the cathedral. It's one of the finest in England. Those videos are on my channel for you to enjoy. And in the middle here, this is where all the pewter plates and all the valuables of the friary would have been kept. Sacristy. This is the wealthy end of the priory here. You can still see the arches at the back from where would have been windows there perhaps at one time. But absolutely fantastic to see these old ruins. Oh gosh. And round the back here is where the chapel would have been. Ooh. This is the chapel area here. Really rather interesting. As I say, not much here, but there is a surprising amount to see if you visit. The first friar here was a Robert Kilwardby in 1261, and he went on to be Archbishop of Canterbury in 1272. Well, let's head back up Foundation Street and see what else we can discover here in Ipswich on the way up to the Martyrs' Memorial. Just at the top of Foundation Street is Tackett Street, and there's another lovely old church. This is the Church of Christ Church. What a fantastic looking building. So many old churches in Ipswich, and of course with the friary as well. You have to remember that it's a major centre of religion back in the 13th century, just like Colchester, just a few miles down the road. But on the left is an old building called Brand and Sons, and now they were a haberdashery and draper store. The building dates from 1890. There's a date on the front, and also the name as well in lettering, Brand and Sons. Building closed in, or the shop closed in 1950. It's nice to see that the building is repurposed and still in use. It's now a sort of a Bloom Lounge. I'm not sure what that is. Probably a cafe or something, or a nightclub. But it's nice to see these old Art Deco buildings still preserved, still in use, adding to the character and to the history of Ipswich. Really rather pleasant. But just up ahead is Upper Brook Street. So I'm going to walk up there and up to Christ Church Park. I do like walking around Ipswich. The history here is just so amazing. But let's see what else we can discover on the way up to the Martyrs' Memorial. Just up on the right is the old Cock and Pie pub. It's one of Ipswich's oldest. We used to have cockfights there, first recorded around, well, certainly recorded by 1689. But cockfighting and pubs was outlawed by the Cruelty to Animals Act in 1835. And cockfighting has been a staple of entertainment in pubs since the earliest times. There's a pub in St Albans, it's actually England's oldest and dates from 793, and it's called Ye Old Fighting Cocks. So I guess that was Ipswich's main venue for cockfighting. But I don't like cruelty to animals, and that is rather cruel. It does happen at some locations around the country, or around the world, I should say. It's outlawed in England, but it still does happen in other countries. And up here is another blue plaque. I do like blue plaques. This one's to a John Harbottle, who died in 1577. Tudor merchant and landowner. Had a mansion house on this site. Co-leader of the 1549 rebellion in East Suffolk. Peacefully resolved. 1549 rebellion, that's Kett's Rebellion. There's a nice story there. Kett's Rebellion started on the 8th of July and ended on the 27th of August, 1549. It all started because landowners were blocking off areas of common land, stopping the ordinary people from grazing their livestock. And naturally, they rose up against the authority. And Harbottle survived, unlike the leaders themselves, Robert Kett, who was hanged in Norwich on the 7th of December that year, and his brother William from the church tower in Windham. So, but Harbottle is an interesting man actually. He was a merchant and landowner. He was also the town's chamberlain in 1542. And a chamberlain is a tax collector. So I dare say he was popular and unpopular for different reasons. But he certainly did well by the people of Ipswich in 1549 due to the areas of common land being closed off to grazing of cattle. But now let's see what else we can discover up here on. Oh, and there's another blue plaque. There we go. Sophie Youngman, 1849 to 1907, pioneering educationalist, first principal of Ipswich High School for girls, and the assembly rooms here. Gosh, the sun's bright today, reflecting off the glass. Gosh. So there we go, another blue plaque. Do you love? Just on the left-hand side is the former Royal Oak Inn. And what's striking about this building is the ornate carvings on the front. Building dates around about the 15th century. Don't know whether it was built as a private house originally and converted into a pub, but it's absolutely splendid on the outside, and these ornate carvings are absolutely incredible. Lead-lined windows at the front, and the large entrance door as well. Absolutely fantastic. And there's some stained glass shields on the front. Been in there and had a little look, and the interior architecture really is quite something, and especially the room at the front with its oak panelling and more shields on the wall on the inside as well. But what was interesting in there is there's some old fire insurance plaques at the bottom of the stairs. Now I'll put one on the screen, and this one's down to Sun Fire. It's made by a company called Sun Fire, and they were founded in 1707. You often find them on the outside of buildings if you look hard enough. And Sun Fire has changed its name quite a few times over the years, and it's now known as Royal Sun Alliance. And they're actually Britain's oldest insurance company. And the policy number at the bottom. And the number at the bottom is actually the policy number, I should say. And if you had a fire, you would contact the local fireman who represented Sun Fire, and he would come and put the fire out. He would turn up with a large cart of water and do his best. But usually by the time you had found him and he'd got his act together and actually got his equipment to the house, the chances are that it was the fire had taken hold and it was beyond saving the property. Fire services in 1707 were rather primitive compared to the modern fire brigades we have today. But just up here a bit further, there's another blue plaque. Oh, and this is Wycombe's Gatehouse, built in 1471 by William Pickham. Yes, William Pickham, Archdeacon of Suffolk, 1471. And all that remains of his house is this fantastic gateway. I've just been inside actually and had a little look around around the back. So I'll put some photographs up on the screen. And also of the public library across the road. To see the old gatehouse that's actually survived, because so many haven't. And the nice building across the road from there, the public library. I think that was built in 1924. But just at the top of the road is the Hilbert Inn, lovely old pub dating from the 17th century. I believe it's also haunted as well, I'm not sure, but I haven't looked into that one. But across the road from here is Christ Church Park and the Martyrs Memorial. So let's go and look around and see what we can discover in Christ Church Park. Just walked past another old building. It's the former Packhorse Public House. It's now offices. Dates from about the 14th century. 1400s, I should say. 15th century, 1400s. But now walking through the gates into Christ Church Park. And I met with the fantastic sight of Christ Church Mansion. It really does look absolutely magnificent. It's one of the jewels of Ipswich's heritage and history. Absolutely fantastic. Built by Edmund Withypole around 1548, 1550. And has been used as a film location a few times as well, including in the 2012 film called Private Peaceful. I haven't seen the film, so I can't tell you anything about it. But there's St Margaret's Church on the right hand side. That is just a beautiful church on the right hand side there, built around 1300 by the canons of Holy Trinity Priory, which is, of course, now where Christ Church Mansion now stands. It really does look absolutely beautiful. I've already been to Christ Church Mansion. One of the first videos I made about 8 years ago featured a little slideshow walk round the inside of the mansion, looking at the state rooms. So perhaps I should go back in and take a closer look. Let's do that. Let's go have a look around Christ Church Mansion before we head up further into Christ Church Park and the Martyrs Memorial. Lovely walking through Christ Church Mansion. I enjoyed my visit there 8 years ago. I enjoyed my visit there again today. It really is well worth looking at if you happen to be in Ipswich. It's also haunted as well. Yeah, supposed to be the Edwardian lady who was often seen dancing on the upper gallery often accompanied by children. And downstairs towards the servants' quarters there's a lady in a grey dress who is often seen. Didn't see them today. Perhaps I should have told them I was coming and they better made an appearance. But one of these days I'll see a ghost and I'll believe in ghosts. But there we go. And just ahead is the pond here in Christchurch Park. Wow, this is absolutely beautiful here. It's not difficult to see why Christchurch Park is the jewel in the tourism crown of Ipswich. It is absolutely gorgeous. And on a day like today, well, it's absolutely delightful. Absolutely delightful. I do like walking around parks. They are so enjoyable. Wherever I go, I try and walk through a park. I've walked through some great parks, especially in Colchester, and of course in Dorchester as well. Beautiful parks in Dorchester. Found that last year. But just up ahead is the Martyrs Memorial. This is what I've come to see. Quite magnificent. It was unveiled on Wednesday the 16th of December 1903 by the Reverend Henry Wace, Dean of Canterbury. Now, I've come across him before. When I was in London, I came across his house. This is on my video when I walked up to the Sky Garden. I walked past Dean Wace's house after I visited Dr. Johnson's house, the man who wrote the dictionary. But there's an inscription on the base here, and it reads, "This monument is erected to the memory of the 9 Ipswich martyrs who, for their constancy to the Protestant faith, suffered death by burning." And they're all burnt at the stake in the centre of Ipswich. And their names are actually listed on the other sides. N. Peake, 1538. Kirby, 1546. Robert Samuel, 1555. Agnes Potton, 1556. Joan Trumpsfield, 1556. And John Tudson, also 1556. And William Pykes, 1558. Alexander Gough, 1558. And Alice Driver, also in 1558. And they're all commemorated here. And it's nice to see these memorials, because so many people throughout the country were burnt at the stake for their beliefs. So many during the reign of Mary I. That's why she got the nickname of Bloody Mary. But there we go. This is the Martyrs Memorial here in Ipswich, in Christchurch Park. So this is where I end the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed my series here on Ipswich. And the link at the end will take you to the first of those videos where I look at people and places. So we'll see you next time for another history video from somewhere else. Thanks for watching.